Now, when you first heard about this, did you say to yourself, why in the world are they remaking The Color Purple? They may have had a good reason, but let's talk about it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion for my The Color Purple movie review. And if this is your first time finding me and you happen to like the video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Yes, The Color Purple, the second film of the same name, with the original coming out in 1985, directed by Mr. Steven Spielberg. Now, if you were not aware, the 85 film was adapted from the book that was written by Alice Walker before that. And then in 2005, there was the Broadway musical. Now, whether if you read the book, saw the original 85 film, or the Broadway musical in 05, please let me know down in the comment section which one you've seen, if you've seen them all, and if you have a favorite among the three. And then also, once you see this 2023 version, if you still have a favorite amongst those or love them all the same, let me know down in the comment section. Now, this is being directed by Mr. Blitz Bazawule, and I'm not too familiar with his work, but if we just scroll down and look at his filmography, he was responsible for directing Black is King, which came out in 2020. This was a visual album from Beyonce inspired by The Lion King, and I do vaguely remember that. But if you are familiar with his work and seen any of his past projects, please let me know down in the comment section as well. Now, when it comes to my expectations, like I said in my intro, I was like, what are they doing? Why are they remaking this movie? Won't they just leave it alone? I think I actually rolled my eyes. But then when the trailer first dropped, I checked it out. And within the first 15 seconds, I said to myself, okay, this looks pretty good. It looks pretty decent. This is a musical, and I am a fan of musicals for the most part. It's starring Taraji P. Henson. We're also going to have Fantasia and also Halle Bailey, who I'm a fan of as well, who was Ariel in The Little Mermaid earlier this year. So I said, okay, hey, don't go in prejudging it. It could be good. There's been times where I had low expectations before for some adaptation or a film or movie that I love from the past, and it ended up being spectacular. I even said the same thing with What Women Want with Mel Gibson, and then Taraji P. Henson remade that film. I liked her remake version better than the original, and I loved that movie when it originally came out. So you can always be surprised. So I just said to myself, okay, always go in with an open mind and don't be prejudging stuff. Now, also, when I look in my comment section, other posts across social media or other people on YouTube, there is a large group of people, well, I don't want to say large, I'll just say a group of people that said that they did see the original film when they was younger, but when they got much older and look at it now, they have a different lens and feel that it is a black male hate propaganda piece. And if I were to switch my perspective over, I can see that somewhat and kind of feel like their argument is valid, but you can look at it in a number of ways. And I also, in this review, will talk about the similarities, of course, from the original 85 film and this adaptation of the Broadway musical. And so, of course, stay tuned for that. But again, I like musicals. I like the cast. And after I saw the trailer or the few trailers, I was like, this does look pretty good. So before I get into all the nitty gritty, before I talk about all my likes and dislikes, let me tell you exactly what this film, The Color Purple, is all about. A woman faces many hardships in her life, but ultimately finds extraordinary strength and hope in the unbreakable bonds of sisterhood. Now, guys, I won't hold you. I'll just go ahead and say this off top, but this Color Purple 2023 version adaptation from the 2005 Broadway musical is easily one of the best films that I've seen this year. Across the board, it is phenomenal. And I say that with so much confidence because at the time of this recording, I have seen it twice. Now, my feelings did change a bit from the second time I saw it, but when it came up to the end of this film, it had me in all of my feelings and I was smiling ear to ear. Hands down, this is a beautiful production, up, down, left, right, in, and out. And I find it hard to believe anybody walking away from this not at the very least having a good time. Not only will you have a good time, I think you'll have a great time, and you're going to be walking out of the theater singing and dancing like I was both times when I did see this movie. I mean, this film is so beautiful to look at. The cinematography is on point. I love the contrast of all the colors and the shades of blackness with our cast. Right now, as I'm speaking to you guys, I'm thinking about a scene in particular at the very beginning with the young Celie and Holly Bailey, who plays Nettie, with them dancing on the beach, showing their black skin and the white sand, with them singing around in circles. It's just beautiful with the costumes, the wardrobe, the makeup, the textures of the hair. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And I loved every moment of it. I felt that way the first time I saw it and the second time. It's just, again, a beautiful film to look at. This has awards recognition all over it. I would be shocked if they didn't get any recognition when that ceremony comes in a number of months. The next thing that I liked about this film is it is similar to the 85 film, but at the same time, there is also a lot of differences in it. This is not just some carbon copycat of the original film. You still will be getting a lot of new material that you did not see before, and that is very refreshing. One of them is the musical part of this. This is a musical. It is a drama as well, and there are some dramatic moments that will touch at your heart in a good and bad way, and of course, I'm going to talk about that. But the musical aspect of this film is brilliant. I was singing, I was dancing throughout this. This is easily something that I can buy the soundtrack and jam it in my car, play it whenever I want to, and just have a good time bobbing my head to all these lovely beats. And I remember when I saw this the first time, I did ask a friend, like, hey, I have a +1. Do you want to go with me? And she was like, no, I hate musicals. They're ridiculous. I hate when characters are acting and then they just bust out in song at random times. And they're just really drawing to me. Musicals are just not my type of thing. If you do feel that way, rest assured, it is not jarring. It is not abrupt or anything like that. It is the most natural, organic transition into songs I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, granted, I have not seen every musical to compare it to, but from all of the musicals that I've seen, the transition is so super duper seamless. And then again, this is like majority black people. There's 98.5% black people in this movie, with just a couple of sprinkles of salt whiteness in this film. And the reason why I say that is everybody is singing and dancing for the most part. And black people, I can speak for us, we do that naturally anyway in whatever environment that we're in, whether it's good or bad. I mean, you have the richest people in mansions singing, and you got people singing in jails, singing wherever. We're always just singing and dancing. I remember that just growing up all my life. And we take joy in it. We do. We embrace it. There's so many times where we're laughing and making fun of ourselves in a positive way, just kind of shining light on our culture. Like, man, what is up with us? Why are we always singing and dancing? Some people may feel a certain way about that, and I don't want to start that conversation, but I just remember a number of times just growing up in my life just saying, man, there is just something about us and how we just embrace music and dancing at the most random times. And I really felt like I was at home when I was watching this movie, like it was just made specifically for me. It's not as made for everybody, but I was able to attach myself in this film in more ways than one. And one aspect, of course, was all of the music that was in this film. It was superb. But going back to the similarities between this 2023 version and the 85 version, again, there are the similarities and then there are the differences. But the things that are similar that I liked is there are just certain lines of dialogue that were in the 85 film. And in this 2023 version, it's exact word to word. And when I saw it in theaters the first time, there were a number of people in the audience that were quoting the movie like, oh, they put the exact same amount of dialogue in this film, and you embrace it. You love it. You're going to be eating it all up. And so if you want some of the same, you're going to get that. It's going to make you satisfied and put a smile on your face. But again, you don't want the exact same thing. You want something fresh and new. And some of the scenes in this film do not play out the exact same way as the 85 film. And that is a plus. That is a positive. I don't think that I would want that. When they're coming up, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember this scene right here from the 85 version, but it plays out differently. And that's just something that I did appreciate. So if you want the best of both worlds of something that you can recognize from the past and something new, you're going to get that. So shout out to the writing team and the director, because y'all did a great job there. 2 thumbs up. There you go. And man, we got to talk about these performances because they were so damn good. Like 11 people are going to be nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Actress, Best Actor. I mean, everybody did a great job, whether they was a good character or a bad character. Some of the performances in this film, in my opinion, are better than the original. I'll go ahead and say this right now. Fantasia as Silly. I did love Whoopi Goldberg back in the day as Silly, but in my opinion, and I'm not trying to crap on you, Whoopi Goldberg. I think you're a great entertainer, great actress, all that good stuff. But I'm just saying, if I had to compare the two, Fantasia blows Whoopi Goldberg's performance out of the water from the original. She is so damn good in this movie, whether she's singing, whether she's giving dialogue, or there's just so nonverbal cues to where she's doing a great job. I'm thinking in the middle of the movie, there is a scene where she is in church where somebody is getting married. And while everybody is celebrating, her life sucks in this movie. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But just her body language, the way that she was just kind of sitting there soaking, slumped over with her shoulders forward and just kind of looking back all pathetic. I was like, damn, Ma, like, why are you so good at this? Like, you were born to act. You were born to perform. You were born to entertain us and sing and show us all your talent. And you are doing that in this film. Of course, she was the winner for American Idol in 2002. And I think at the time that was the third winner. I think Kelly Clarkson was number one. Ruben Studdard was two. And Fantasia was number three. If I'm incorrect, let me know in the comment section. But she's been somewhat popular since then. But I don't think that she has just been at the very, very top. Not saying that is easy, but my goodness gracious, if you did not know how skillful Fantasia was, you're definitely going to know that doing this film, because she is a standout. I mean, ma'am, like, just, ooh, I don't want to clap and, make it too noisy for you guys, but you did a hell of a great job. I loved every moment of you in this movie. And I felt so sorry for you too. Just seeing how you were treated like crap in this movie from the very beginning. It's just like, damn, you don't deserve this. Life is not fair. But when you got your confidence toward the end of this movie and the relationship that you had with Suge Avery, played by Taraji P. Henson, the way that she spoke life into your character, the way that she just gave you confidence and showed you that you are worth it, it was nothing short of beautiful. Fantasia Silly in this film had nothing to look forward to. Her confidence level was smaller than a mustard seed, but the relationship and the way that Suge gave her life made that blossom throughout her body into one of the most beautiful bouquets you could ever witness with your eyes. And it really did speak volumes of the power of sisterhood and what women can accomplish when they stick together and hold each other down, when they are just surrounded by nothing but BS and chaos. I mean, her character, Silly, played by Fantasia, had a true 100-degree turn in this film from beginning to end. And it was easily one of the best parts of this movie, how she didn't have nothing and thought of herself as nothing, but was the queen of the world at the end of this. I'm lost for words, to be honest with you. And just doing her transformation when she knew that she was just that girl, that woman, and the way she expressed herself in the end, it's gonna put butterflies in your stomach. You're gonna have all of the good, warm, tingly feelings going all throughout your body, pulsating. I was also just watching a couple of podcasts in anticipation of this film and what people's expectations were. And I saw a number of people online talking about their favorite scene of the original is when Suge Avery was in the juke joint and she heard her father singing gospel music in church, across the way. And she came outside and was embracing that and singing, and she bust through the church, and, her father was, smiling when he was at the pulpit and they came together. Of course, you have that scene in this film as well. And it is quite different, but that is a highlight in this film as well. I mean, there's just so many good scenes in this film. It's kind of hard to pick my favorite because they're also just damn good. And also, I just want to talk about Miss Danielle Brooks right here, who is playing the role of Sophia in the original film that was by Miss Oprah Winfrey. She was a standout too. I remember her a couple of years ago from the Peacemaker series, DC Comics, that is on HBO Max or Max. And man, I really did like her in that show. She was great. I had a lot of fun with her character, but man, she deserves a lot of work too. Oh my gosh, the relationship, the toxic relationship that she had with Harpo in this film, again, is fantastic. A lot of people are going to have a lot of laughs, seeing them go back and forth throughout this movie. Truly, truly talented, truly, truly gifted. I did not know she had all those acting chops. But yeah, Miss Danielle Brooks right here, man, yeah, give her all the roles. She is fantastic. She deserves all the credit because she was just another highlight in this film. Daniel Brooks, Fantasia, and Taraji P. Henson all did a phenomenal job in this film. I mean, everybody did. Corey Holcomb did a fantastic job in this. Coleman Domingo. Everybody should be really proud of themselves. And since we're talking about the cast and all the performances, I will go ahead and be honest with you. The first 28, 30 minutes of this movie was a bit uncomfortable because, for me at least, because we see these black men in this movie that are weak and they are just demons to the women in this movie. And I'm just kind of saying to myself, like, why? Why was this written? Like, where did this come from? I don't want to see this. This is a bit messy and I don't like it. And I'm not gonna lie, it did make me a bit uncomfortable. And of course, you can have people like that in real life. It does exist, but that's not what the film is necessarily focusing on. They're just a representation of all the trials and tribulations that women can possibly go through. And again, what can be done when they stick together to overcome it. And, you know, that is the main plot point of this movie, or at least the way that I interpreted it, the way that I perceived it. You may be looking at this as in a different way. And the thing is it does make me uncomfortable just to see anybody taken advantage of, to see anybody, you know, be abused. And there is a lot of drama in this film. There is a lot of abuse, and it does make me mad. It did make me uncomfortable. It did grind my gears and made me very, very frustrated. It did. However, the saving grace is, especially coming from Mr., played by Coleman Domingo, there are some redeeming qualities about his character towards the end. Justice is served, and he, in a sense, does come to light towards the end of this film. And that I really did appreciate. They didn't have to put that in the movie. I didn't think it was forced. I don't think anybody was saying, okay, we can't just have the black man look bad in this movie because it's going to cause this, it's going to cause that. There's going to be more gender and sex wars and all these podcasts between men and women to cause division. It felt very natural and organic, and I really did like that. At one point in time, his character is like, okay, I know that I'm doing wrong and I need to do right. Better late than never, but at least there was some type of redemption. At least, you know, they did address that. So that is a good thing. And if you do feel those ways about the original film, which I said is part of the black male hate propaganda, which some people feel that way, this film and all of the drama, not even speaking on that from the original film, this movie, the 2023 version, is much more uplifting. It's much more happy. It's much more motivating and can breathe life into you. So if you're worried about that, like, oh my God, I have PTSD from the original film, I actually heard somebody say that, you can put those worries aside because that's just not the tone of this movie at all. It is very uplifting. It is very light. It is very comforting, especially when they're singing and dancing. And also, I will say at the very beginning of this film too, I felt some type of way because while, I mean, this film starts off in 1909 and it has a great passage of time from going to decade and decade. I think this film spans over 40 years. Kind of towards the beginning, I was saying to myself, okay, what are you trying to say? What message are you trying to convey that no matter what black people are going through, they're just supposed to sing and dance through all their problems and not worry about seeking justice or being harmed by this system that we're living in? You could look at it that way as well, but no, again, it's just really uplifting. And there were a lot of redeeming qualities just about the whole flow of this movie that kind of pushed that to the side as well. So you're going to walk out of this movie feeling good, feeling like you're a part of something bigger. And I think that was the point. And like I said, just on a technical level, the production is fantastic. I talked about the passage of time that flowed smooth. There was a great transition. I loved how in some scenes the camera would stay still in the middle of the room, not stay still, but spin around in the 360. And that was a good way of showing time pass, people getting older, the younger versions of the characters going away and the older versions of their character coming through for fulfill the roles, because we do have more than one version of Celia in this film. We have a smaller, younger version and an older version with the character Nettie as well. Holly Bailey is the younger version and Sierra is the older version of Nettie in this film. And if you're coming into this film to see Holly Bailey, she did a great job too, but I will say that her amount of screen time is very brief. She's in the film at the very beginning and at the very end, and we kind of get bits of narration of her voice throughout the middle of the movie. And so lower your expectations if one of the main things, like, well, I want to see Halle Bailey in this. She was going to be in it a whole bunch. She's not in the film that much. But overall, guys, this film is just so damn good on more ways than one. If I had to just look at the production of this film, just look at it at a technical standpoint and objectively, this gets a perfect 10 out of 10. As far as my feelings and emotions, I'll give that rating for this at the very end. But again, the cinematography was on point. It was splendid to look at. The acting, the performances was some of the best you're going to see this year. The contrast of all the colors and shades of blackness and just embracing Black culture was wonderful. The music was lovely from the men and the woman. It was all natural. It was organic. There was nothing forced, and it does feel at your heartstrings. You may even cry a little bit here and there. I'm just also just thinking about one scene with them dealing with whiteness and white supremacy. You know what scene I'm talking about from the original where Sophia was taken away from her family? It is just going to make your blood boil. But I love the realism of it too. And again, I just really got to talk about the dancing. Even with Harpo, played by Corey Holcomb, did a fantastic job. The way he's just doing this right here. Like I was in there, like doing like, yes. I loved it all, man. There's a lot to like in this movie. I really have no complaints here and there. The only thing I can complain about, there was just one scene where they was transforming from music to the actual scene. They were trying to display someone's imagination and they had them dancing on like a record player or some type of vinyl. That kind of seemed a little bit out of place. But other than that, I have no complaints at all, guys. I really did enjoy this film. It's one of the best movies I've seen this year, and I think everybody will feel the exact same way. It's very uplifting. It's dramatic, but not as dramatic and daunting as the original film. It's just an all-around feel-good movie that I could watch over and over and over again. I'll go ahead and give my rating for this at the very end, guys, but for now, that is just my opinion, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you did like this video, please go ahead and give me the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Help me reach that next milestone of 50,000 subscribers. And also shout out to Taraji P. Henson. She had an interview recently just talking about all of the pay disparities that are going on in Hollywood with women, Black women specifically. And it is an important topic, and I am going to be discussing that in my next movie news roundup show. I don't think it'll be this Sunday, but maybe this coming Tuesday because I'm off work and got to get some stuff done in between there. And I'm going to say some things that people agree with and some things that they don't per se. Just come check it out. Overall, I think you'll have a good time. So if I had to rate The Color Purple, the 2023 version, out of a 1 out of 10, I'm going to give this film a 9.5 out of 10. Yes, a 9.5 out of 10. Everybody involved, stand up, give yourself a round of applause. You guys should be very, very proud of yourselves. But guys, again, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.